What a game between Nebraska and Cincy. Week 1. Cincy, a chance to tie or take the lead. Brendan Sorsby, the pass to Cyrus. No, intercepted. It's intercepted by Malcolm Hartzog Jr. Never saw him there. And that is your ball game. Nebraska avoids a collapse, and they win 20-17. Matt Rule can breathe a sigh of relief. And with that, we welcome in CBS Sports football analyst Emory Hunt and CBS Sports college football writer Shehan Jeyarajah. And y'all, that was, as we were talking about off camera, a very Nebraska way, right, to end the game because it looked like they were going to give it away. And then Sorsby says, actually, I'm going to give it to Mr. Hartzog. Emory, I'll start with you. What did you take away from the way Nebraska was able to get out of there with a W, even though it was very tight?
It all counts in the end as a win, right? So you find a way to get that W, and they found a way to get it done. Regardless of how it looked, Nebraska won the ball game. You like some of the things they did. They ran the football rather well, I thought, at times. Against Cincinnati, the defense stepped up in certain areas. They almost collapsed on the back end, but at the end of the day, they made the play that was there to be made. A play doesn't care who makes it. It just wants to be made, and they made the play at the end.
Yeah, I think it's such a weird way for that game to end just because, again, Cincinnati has the ball. They get into field goal range. I get the idea of taking a shot, but I don't necessarily think it was necessary. And if you're Brendan Sorsby in that situation, you have to have better awareness of the field. Yeah, if you have that matchup that you like, I understand taking it, but you also have to understand you're already in field goal range. You already have overtime almost guaranteed at that point. If you don't have perfect situation, you got to throw the ball away. And ultimately, it costs them big. And this was an issue that Cincinnati ran into for so much of last season, most famously in their game against Pittsburgh last year, where they blow a 27-7 lead in the fourth quarter in a 28-27 loss. But this is something that has really plagued them under Scott Satterfield. They have to find ways to move forward from this because this roster is too good to waste.
I absolutely agree with you, Shehan. Now, when we talk about the QB position, Dylan Raiola with his idol in the stands and Patrick Mahomes, right? He goes 33 of 42, 243 yards, 2 TDs. Shehan, how would you evaluate his play as he looks to get off to a better start than the way he ended it in his freshman season?
Well, I think it was an encouraging start to the season. There's no doubt about it. I thought that his receivers played really well, and he seemed to have a pretty good connection with them as well. We saw, especially on some of those touchdown throws, we saw some big-time performances, big-time throws, big-time catches that we did not see from this offense last season. But I will say as well, a lot of the stuff that Dylan Raiola took, especially in the second half, was underneath stuff. He did a good job in the second quarter, I think, of getting the ball out and downfield. They got a little bit more conservative. Now, I think part of that was Cincinnati's game plan to play a 3-safety shell, keep the game in front of them, but there were a lot of checkdowns, a lot of shorter passes. I'd love to see them mix it up a little bit more. I'd love to see them try to create more shot opportunities for him. But overall, I give him a solid B+.
Yeah, Shehan touched on it. Like, that's the part I'm looking forward to seeing from him is the growth and more variety within his game. Taking case in point, the touchdown throw, the last one he threw was a nice velocity throw, nice little sleight of hand, and boom, got the ball out quickly. We also saw him scramble a little bit more so in the second half. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that. I want to see him going more at the intermediate to deep levels of the field. And I want to see him avoid those negative plays. A lot of times I felt like he held the ball a little bit too long, took some unnecessary hits, took a sack or two in that situation. But as long as he's able to show the mobility and show the different arm angles and touch the intermediate to deep levels of the field on a more consistent basis, I think that bodes well for him in the sophomore season. I know folks want to calm down the Patrick Mahomes kind of comparisons, and justifiably so. But right now, let him play like a sophomore. Let him get better gradually over the course of the weeks, and we'll see what Nebraska is, where they're at on the opposite end.
Yeah, he's not going to be a finished product
no.
in week 1, right? There's time. You have to give these guys grace. Obviously, there are high expectations, but it doesn't happen overnight.